Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the Triple Trio, a weekly look at all things Hong Kong racing and also with the Whirlpool, a look at global racing as well. A wonderful weekend at the Championships into South Africa last week for the Whirlpool Group 2 racing at Sha Tin, where this man totally dominated the best analyst in the business in Clint Hutchison, and so did that guy, the Hall of Famer in Raymond Shane Dye. Good to see you, Hut.
And you too. Shane always dominates, you know that. He has since he was riding, and let's just hope we can keep the momentum going. It's been an unbelievable week, and yeah, Sydney turns it on again this weekend with those 4 Group 1s. There some great clashes there, aren't there? And Hong Kong is a very competitive card. I think there's going to be some value hanging around at Sha Tin.
Something special about the championships, Shane. Sydney Cups, it's a great race. The Queen Elizabeth, the list goes on, and you've been front and centre throughout the years.
Won it on some good horses. I won the Queen Elizabeth on De Remus one year.
Yep.
And of course, I think I'm about the only 3-year-old in about 60 or 80 years or something. It's a long time to win a 3-year-old. To win on a 3-year-old in the Sydney Cup, which was Tie the Knot.
That's right. You went back-to-back on Tie the Knot,
Yeah.
so you had a couple of Sydney Cups, and from memory, also been able to capture the Oaks on a couple of occasions as well. Back-to-back, I would have thought as well. So the list goes on. Queen Elizabeth, of course, on the mighty De Remus. So we'll reflect on all your brilliance in a moment. But while we're reflecting on both of your brilliance, last week was epic. Check this out.
I've got full credit in race 6. He ran very well the other day. He led. He's got gate 1. He could lead or box seat.
From a long way out here, full credit is going to make a full return on investment. That is a scintillating win. Full credit first.
We're going to stick with 80 light years. Gee, it was a tough watch once again following that last where he was nailed on the line, of course. But look, I think he's racing well. I think he can win. There's a Quinella with a horse called Gracious Express who's only had one start.
Nothing's going to jump out of the grandstand from nowhere and beat him today. And the favourite does it well. 80 light years has beaten home Gracious Express, carrying victory.
And Lucky Sweynesse is back.
He's back, and I've got him marked $1.70 at the moment. Interesting to see what price he'll come up, but it looks a great race for him under the hat, you know, the set weights and penalties conditions.
The leader is Invincible Sage, Lucky Sweynesse. He's having a tussle with him. The champ's taken over though, and he's back. Lucky Sweynesse. Lucky Sweynesse beat Invincible Sage.
Beautiful work. And Golden Boy, that's 3 best bets in a row for you. You're starting to get the hang of this.
Mate, what do they say? If you put your hand in the hat long enough, eventually you're going to get the right number.
That's right. I thought you were going to go with a broken watch is right twice a day.
Yeah, that's a good one, or even a blind squirrel.
That's right. Anyway, that was absolutely brilliant. Hey, we've got a huge show coming up. We'll look at the championships, and our very special guest is Andrea Atzeni, who rides the favourite in the Sydney Cup in Circle of Fire. So Shane will tell him how to go about winning that race, because Shane's won it on a couple of occasions.
And we hope we get your thoughts as well on the Sydney races, Richo, because Shane, if there's a man that's been dominating in New South Wales, it's this guy right here.
Mate, he should have won the Derby last week. What a slaughter that was. The second horse, it should have won by 3 lengths. Mate, I felt sorry for you, Richo.
This is not helping.
Yeah.
This is not helping.
We've had to pump him up.
Okay. All right, let's get stuck into the show, and first, let's burst out of the gates. We burst out of the gates reflecting on last week, a couple of Group 2 races. Lucky Sweynesse only had to concede £5 to the rest. He was a class in the act. He sustained an injury, yet he still won. He was so good.
It was an unbelievable performance. He still lacked that early speed, but Huey gave him dug him along early, but there was plenty of pace in the race, Shane, and then he was happy to take his sit. At what stage of the race he sustained this injury, who knows? But I tell you what, some sort of performance from him, given that he has sustained that injury and still managed to win. It was obviously a wet track, but his class shone through in the end.
Yeah, definitely. I honestly don't believe this year he's gone as bad as most people are saying. Like, when you go back, I can just tell you there's been excuse after excuse for him. It's unfortunate because it was a good win. He gave him a beautiful ride. but he kept him out of trouble. He got him into rhythm without having to pull him back or go forward. And he's just too good, this horse. We all know what he can do.
Yep, I agree with you, Shane. I mean, the day that he was beaten, I think the last time Zach rode him, the inside draw and his lack of gate speed cost him. I think the fact that J-Mac went back on him that day, that was a perplexing sort of tactical move, but there was an excuse. And I know you can say others ran better, but he's normally, you felt like he could have been close to that day. Maybe he still doesn't win. Who knows? California Spangle was good. But he's been going, he's off his best, but he's still good enough to win.
What about the start? Why is he so sluggish at the start at the moment? I mean, Huey had to really, Shane as well, Huey had to really get to work to wake him up, didn't he?
I'm not sure. He's never been brilliant, Shane, out of the gates, has he, Lucky Sweynesse? But he's got worse.
Yeah, but that happens to a lot of horses as they can get older. Not all, but some. Take that Class 5 horse now, Nair Rider, is it?
Noir Rider.
Noir Rider. It could lead 1,000-metre races, any 1,000-metre races by 3-4 lengths, couldn't it, Clint?
Yeah.
Any race 2 seasons ago. And gradually it's lost its gate speed and it's getting worse. It's just got no gate speed now. Some horses, as they get older, do lose it. But in saying that, I don't actually think that horse has ever had an overabundance of gate speed. He's been made to go forward. I would love to have seen him one day in a mile where he can just jump out and travel and see what he would have done, travelling the whole race, racing a little bit closer. But we're not going to see that now for a while.
Yeah, so he has surgery, so we wish him and the connections all the very best. Beauty Joy wins. Tony Cruz, quite a remarkable 1,500 winners in Hong Kong.
Yeah, great effort from Tony. He's a legend in Hong Kong racing, riding-wise. Of course, he had a huge amount of success in Europe as well when he rode over there for a period of time in the 80s. And, this relationship between Brenton Avdulla and Tony is really starting to flourish, Shane. And, you know, look, I don't know if it's the horse, I don't know if it was the ground, but I'll say this. Brendan Avdulla got a horse to not, you know, we normally see Beauty Joy over-race, get his head up, be not tractable in the run, and he travelled and had him in a beautiful spot a long way. And I thought at this point of the race, he's going to be very hard to beat from there.
Yeah, definitely. He gave him a beautiful ride on the fence, but everything stayed off the fence early, so he could have made up 5 lengths without having to push him and keep him in his rhythm. They have got a great relationship, and it's going to hurt Angus, Clint, big time.
Yeah, could well do. I mean, he can be what we describe in racing, though, Shane, as light-mouthed. Is that the right description for Beauty Joy? The fact that you sort of just lean, you know, you try to get him travelling and he wants to get his head up all the time?
Yes, he does. This is one of the first times he hasn't. He's had him beautiful, and of course, he just come out here and the runs were there and he quickened and he won. The second horse is racing well, but he's just that length of being a star, Beauty Eternal, as we know. And if something puts in, like actually this horse Beauty Joy should have beat Beauty Eternal earlier in the season. We remember when he lost his whip on him at
Derek Ling dropped his whip. Yeah.
So it's not a surprise he beat him when he gets that type of ride and run.
And Shane, you were keen on Nimble Nimbus, good run. I mean, when I looked at the replay, I felt he couldn't go down to the fence because Brenton just sort of kicked up enough to hold that spot. But, gee, ran well, Nimble Nimbus. He's a little underrated, isn't he?
If he dug him out of the gates and go to the fence, he probably wins.
Yeah.
Because he's in front of him and the other horse is 3 lengths behind. If you have a look at the half mile, he's 3 lengths behind the other horse, whereas he would have been 3 lengths in front of him getting that run. And he's on a 2,000-metre horse who had to go forward. It was just a little bit of an error out of the gates. But if he had dug him and put him there on the fence and cleared him from gate 1, he probably wins the race. He's racing really well, that horse. You know, and he was great odds. Yep. He was $13, $14, mind you. When they run 4th, they may as well be 100.
Yeah, that's right. It was hard to get that $13 or $14, wasn't it? Yeah. Tony Cruz, 1,500 winners in Hong Kong, and here he is.
So I'm so happy that I'm very proud to be in Hong Kong with the Hong Kong Jockey Club's license for so many years. And I've seen Hong Kong change so much in the past. I've seen so many come and go, and how Hong Kong become a world stage. And I'm so lucky to be a part of it. Like I represented Hong Kong when I was racing elsewhere. Everybody said to me, "Where are you coming from?" I said, "Oh yeah, Hong Kong. How you like that?" So I'm so proud to be in Hong Kong, and you know, I was born and raised here. My dad was a jockey. My uncle was a jockey in Hong Kong in amateur days, and my game, and I was meant to be part of this racing game, to be a jockey and a trainer.
Oh, isn't that absolutely brilliant? He is a stylish man too.
He's a real character, very talented horseman. And look, I've known Tony for years, and his father, the late father Johnny, was a real character. He used to sit next to him at the trainers stand in Hong Kong, and his brother, of course, Derek, was also a trainer and jockey. Didn't have quite the success that Tony's enjoyed, but he's fabulous, and you can't understate what he means to Hong Kong racing. I mean, he's their pin-up boy.
Yeah, he's the Don Bradman.
Richo, I was about to say that. He's like a Don Bradman.
Yeah.
He can go anywhere in Hong Kong. Everyone knows him. He's a star, always has the flash cars, of course, and he's a character, but very, very well liked, Tony is.
Yeah. What was, did you ride a bit for him, and did you ride against us? Did your careers overcross?
No, the careers didn't, but when I was in Hong Kong, he had Felix Hutchi as a stable jockey. So, no, I didn't really ride for him. In those days, stables had stable jockeys, and they had a few freelance jockeys like myself, and then a lot of them were stable jockeys like Felix. So, no, I didn't really ride for Tony.
You know what we will do? He came to Flemington one day. I think he rode in the, they had a jockey.
International Challenge,
Yeah, with the retired jockeys and all that.
Yeah.
He won that race. So I'm sure Channel 7 will have that version. Maybe in a following week we might get it, because that might help us get Tony on too. He's a bit shy in talking, unless it's about that race. He loves sort of, gliding past the lights of Leicester Piggott, etc.
At the Champions dinner in December, and more on December later on in the show, I just went and eyeballed him and asked him a question with a microphone, and I think the whole room was shocked that anyone had the guts to go and ask him for a question.
Yeah, well, ignorance is bliss sometimes.
It wasn't until after you went.
Yes.
Really? Zach Purton and Danny Shum also certainly to the fore. They they both get trebles.
Yeah, Danny's flying. Yeah, Danny doesn't really ever, Shane, doesn't seem to really ever have a sort of down moment. This horse was obviously, they wanted to get to the Derby, and it just came a bit soon for him, but he's hitting form. He's in good form late. Of course, our subs were on Outgate, who had its chance and I thought was going to win, but Zach just drove that one over the line. But yeah, Zach's riding well, and his association with Danny Shum's been there for quite a while, Shane, and they're both flying.
This was a grind.
Yeah, they're going really well. That horse goes better at Happy Valley than Sha Tin moments in time. This horse is racing well. He found a very weak race. It wasn't strong, and he goes to Class 3 now, and don't know how far he'll go up the ladder, but he found an easy race there. But Zach's riding really well at present. I loved his ride in the last race where he just dominated from the gates, and
Sports Legend.
What was it called?
Sports Legend, yeah.
Sports Legend drew out, and there was only two horses I felt in that race, the second horse and him, and he just got to the front, pulled up a bit and quickened. It was a very good ride. He's going good, Zach.
Yeah, 1,700 winners. Congratulations, Zach. We are
That's
so
amazing.
proud of him. That is incredible. He's charging at Dougie. Yeah. There's some charging going on.
Yeah, he'll get there.
I think that anyone thinks that he'll leave at the end of the season. He might be going to do another season, I would say, because Dougie's about 1830 or something.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
1830.
I think he's 130 or something away from him. So,
he'll stick around for it. He's not going to. He likes records.
Yeah. Check the rankings, and at the moment, Zach is of course off and away. Leads by 30 over Karis Teaton. So that little battle for the podium looks secure as well. Huey's got a nice enough gap there to stay in the bronze medal position.
And usually if you're leading at this stage of the season, you're hard to catch. So, I think at this point in time, while there are, about 24, 25 meetings left, Francis or Pierre, it's going to be one of those two that take it out, and Pierre'd be the short price favourite.
Hey, Champions Day fields have dropped as well. Of course, Sunday, the 28th of April, the QE2 Cups are absolute beauty because we have Romantic Warrior, and then when we scroll down, we'll see a very significant other acceptor. Dubai Honour is going to be really interesting to see him. We've got the Japanese influence as well, a few of the usual suspects, and then we get to the bottom, and Massive Sovereign is there. Bring that race on.
Well, I think there's been in the last, there's been 4 Derby winners, I reckon, in about the last 15 years. I had a quick look at the great media guide that the Jockey Club put out. If you want to check that out, go onto their website and you'll see all the information regarding these international races. So the Derby always works out well, and it's going to be a strong year for sure. But also the clash or reclash of Romantic Warrior and Prognosis. Many felt that he should have beaten Romantic Warrior last year, and he hasn't done much wrong since. And of course, then there's this battle, Golden 60 against, of course, Galaxy Patch. That's the one that really catches the eye as well.
Yeah, that's right. You add in Voyage Bubble and others. So that Champion Mile is going to be an absolute beauty. And then the Chairman's Sprint Prize with California Spangle arriving back. Victor, the winner, was in Japan. Lucky with you, Invincible Sage as well. And then right down the bottom, an interesting runner. David Hayes has the colt, the 3-year-old colt from Australia, the Blue Diamond winner in Little Bros.
Yeah, it's a big ask, isn't it, for Little Bros? But you know the interesting runner in that lineup, and he hasn't done it at the big level yet, Shane, is Mugen. I don't know. I think it's a very interesting race for him. He's back in trip to 1200. He's an interesting one.
When you put that up quickly, I just went Mugen. That's the horse I want to be on straight away. So coming back to 1200, you see, you only got to look at what How Deep Is Your Love with John Sires did when he went that mile, come back to 1200, and the sprinters, they can go up a notch. I think he's a very nice horse, Mugen.
And the Hong Kong Jockey Club has also announced that they are going to invest 140 million Hong Kong dollars into lowering the cost of ownership there. So taking significant 22% off the horses in training fees. Also, they've looked at the new horse imports and reducing the fees early on, plus also giving a payment of 50,000 Hong Kong dollars towards exporting retired horses. All great initiatives.
Music to all the owners' ears, I would imagine. You know, we have to look at the facts. The facts are that globally, you know, things are down.
Yeah.
Costs are generally going up, and you know, people aren't doing as well in general economy. So I think this, Shane, great initiative from the club to try and ease a little bit of the pressure on owners is only a really positive thing.
They do it all across the board. That's the one thing I noticed with the Hong Kong Jockey Club. They just are so good at it. They remember when the turnover was down in about 203, 204, and they were trying to get it up. So they went to the government with a 10% rebate to losing bets of over $10,000. And the government didn't actually agree with it unless they backed and paid for the difference that they were going to lose if it didn't make up the difference, you know.
Yeah.
And of course the turnover just went up from there, and now they've made it 12%. Richo, you weren't around, but when SARS hit, it was a nightmare in Hong Kong. Right? They come to us jockeys, we weren't happy, and the trainers, and we lost 10% of our income. They took it off us. They said everyone in the jockey club has to lose, but as soon as we come right again, we will put it back up.
Yeah.
Within 12 months, they put it straight back up, you know, and we're happy to. That doesn't happen in Australia, where they help everyone, you know, and they do. They're out there. And what they do for disabled facilities and, you know, the riding, the horses, everything, it's quite incredible what they do.
Well, I mean,
you never hear me criticise them.
No. Well, that's why they get great social licence, I suppose, in Hong Kong, because it all does go back to charities, hospitals and all that. So, yeah, it's a different model. You can't compare it to a lot of other places, but, you know, it's really well run. And as we said, with the owners, as far as they're concerned, maybe that'll, you know, alleviate some, you know, short-term pain anyway.
Who jumps into the Sweet in Defeat file next?
They're off, and Sugar missed the start by 4 lengths. Then Dublin Star, Sugar fast buck, smart leader. Oversubscribed, lunges at the post, missed. Sugar, that's a sweet win for Alfie Chan.
Our black bookers, Hutch, are Sweet in Defeat. Who's in?
It's getting to that time of year where the little wet tracks are sort of rearing their head, so that is something to consider, particularly from recent meetings. That said, a stable change for General Winner. He's gone over to Douglas White, much better run. I wasn't with him, but I will be next time because it was a nice performance. Gracious Express, both those runs are good. He was second, of course, to 80 light years. Double Bingo debutant, and I didn't really like his trials, but gee, he ran well during the week in the race. They ran some good time. And I thought Noble Pursuit was one that also ran pretty well. But I want to stick with this horse because I think second and third can both run well, Shane. Karying Victory, they've decided to change tactics and ride him more quiet. He'd been very plain at his previous couple of starts. And I think Gracious Express just has to hold his form. His debut was down the 1,000. He ran place there, and now he's gone to 1,200. He'll be ready third up.
Yeah, well, both those horses run well. Actually, all the 4 horses you went well there. Clinton can win. That horse you mentioned, Double Bingo, I couldn't find him. I thought his trials were pretty ordinary, and he ran really well. So, and of course, Noble Pursuit was coming back from 2,000 metres where he took off mid-race, and he ran well. He just seems to love that Happy Valley, sits back and gets home. 1,800 would suit him now.
Just for our watchers as well, Shane, what do you do when there's no market support with the horse? They defy the market expectations. You don't really like the way they've trialled, and they run out of their skin like that. Do you treat each case as on its merits, or do you have a stronger look going forward?
I go back and look at their trials, and then I'll say, right, I don't want to be on them next start. I want to see them do it twice. That's just me. Because when I find a lot of these overseas horses come here and they trial poorly, and for some unknown reason they go really well first up, a lot of them don't back it up second up. So that's my system anyway. But it's not a surprise if they come out and run well second up, but I don't want to be on them second up because I'm guessing and I got them wrong first up. So I need to see them do it twice. That's just me.
Yeah, I find it hard. I tend to trust the run, but you know, it feels like Shane's method might be a little better than mine.
Well, they're four horses to put into our SID file. All right, jockeys, time for you to be under notice. Genius or Slaughter?
The end across, answering the urgings of Shane Dye. Mannerism coming at him. Mannerism has got it. Daring tactics by Shane Dye. He's got Octagonal in full flight on the corner. Bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off, and he pinches the Chipping Norton.
Well, Golden Boy, your time to shine as always. Who caught your eye from a Genius ride point of view?
There were a few good rides I could have put up here from the weekend, last week or Wednesday night, but I put this one up. It was Nice Birdie in the 2200. Jerry rode it. Come out beautiful on the horse. He didn't bustle him too hard. He just got over his neck. It was 2,200 metres. And he put him into a lovely spot, just fit one off the fence without wasting any energy at all. Now, the best thing about this ride was at the Rock when they took off. He didn't bustle him and try and push out. He allowed them. That'll be coming up soon. But it's just giving them a nice ride there. It's 2,200. You don't have to worry, Clint. And I'm sure this video will go forward now because nothing happens.
No, here it is here. I mean, that start can be quite important as well. But the race starts to evolve here, Shane. So he sees one coming, but your point you're making is that the rider in the yellow colours there, he just decides not to make that move at the same time and bide his time.
But what wins the race is he hits a flat spot at about the 700 coming up here, and he pushes him, and he's looked to his inside. You see him looking on the fence, and he switches to the fence. But the horse now starts to get travelling, so he grabs hold of him again and lets him get into his stride and action without trying to come to the outside, and he saves ground, and he just keeps him balanced, and now he rides him hard to the line. If he had tried to come out and get going when he started to make ground at the 500-600 before the turn, he wouldn't have won. And he just gave us the perfect ride the whole race. It was a really good ride, Jerry. Well done. Yeah. And that's what won the race.
It's great.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Good ride, Jerry.
Absolutely brilliant. Was there a Slaughter?
Well, it's not a Slaughter, but I see this too often, and I've brought it up twice here before and showed videos of it. You just can't do this. You watch Champion Instinct. Now, there's nothing wrong with being 3 wide up there. If you're in stride, something has to be 3 wide. I don't blame a jockey if they're drawn wide, they come across, they can't get in. But what I don't like, this horse has been coming back. Now, he knows he went to come back and he can't get in. So the worst thing you can do is push on at about that 900 metres because you burn your horse too much, but you also cost the lead of the race. And whatever's behind you just gets the suck dream the whole way and always wins. You never win when you push 3 wide to go forward there. It just doesn't happen. So you're better off sitting 3 wide and coming into the race at the right time. And he might have won this race, this horse, where he definitely runs in the money. But of course, because he worked at the 800, you can't run the whole race and he weakens at the 100 metres. He's run well again, that horse.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, he did run well with clear excuses, and did had excuses. Was one of our main plays. That's him at the very right of screen, just fading out at the moment. He pulled up with a hard irregularity, so he was wide without cover, but issue with the horse. So, definite excuse.
I know that trainers and people hate horses being 3 wide without cover, but sometimes something has to be, and it's not the jockey's fault. And sometimes you're better off just sitting there 3 deep with your horse in stride, relaxed. You know you don't want to be there, but you can't do anything. There's 2 things I never complain about. Yeah. When a horse draws wide, he's 3 wide, it's not the jockey's fault. And when a jockey saves ground looking for a run and the run doesn't eventuate, I never blame them at all. Because it's the best thing to do. Really
interesting point you made up there, because in Australia and in Hong Kong in particular, they're very critical of that 3 wide line. But Damien Lane made some comments a couple of months ago here in Melbourne and said, he's won quite a few races on one day, I think sitting 3 deep, but controlling position. He said it was, all the talk about the 3 wide no cover can be really overrated. It can be a very good spot to be. It can be in a controlling position. So I think it all relates a lot down to pace as well, Shane.
It depends what animal you've got.
See, the pace was out of that race. The pace was out of it, but he put the pace into the race by going forward to get one off. So what you got to weigh up is saving that little bit of ground to the energy you've used from the 900 to the 700 to do it. Is it worth it? And it's not worth it.
And also, Shane, I think you highlighted this a couple of weeks ago. Then he went to the outside of the lead and got that half a length in front, but on the outside, which is the bit that you said was literally the worst spot possible.
It's the worst spot. They just don't finish off when they're half a length in front. That's one position you can go back and everyone can find 20,000 rides of mine.
Yeah.
And if you find one when I lead, one off the fence, half a length, I'll give up.
We've got a job to do.
I won't come on the show again. I don't think I would ever do that.
We've got a job to do.
But I want him on the show, so I don't want to prove him wrong on that
You'll
one.
You'll probably find one. At least it'll give something for people to do.
Someone
found one.
Someone will find one. So go and research that. All right, an update for the Idol. Shane, let's have a look at points.
Some really good rides. I thought that the best rides for the week was Super Goldie, Derek Leung. Now, that was a really good ride. Gate 14, went back, cut the corner, come out, won by about a neck. But it was just a perfect ride for a back marker from a wide gate. Well done, Derek. You got 2. The other one was, of course, Nice Birdie. And I thought Zach on Sports Legend was excellent. Yui rode a couple of winners and gave Lucky Sweynesse a perfect ride. Brendan rode the 2 winners. Vidal Alexi rode 18 carat really well when he led. He was wide the first bend but didn't push on too much and just got there, eased the pace off and gave it a really good ride. And Lyle rode a couple of winners and I didn't give him a point last week.
Yeah.
I didn't give him a point last week for Flaming Rabbit either, where he rated it well. So he can have a point. They're all leaders, but he's going all right, Lyle. So, no, they're all riding all right.
Let's have a look at the leaderboard for racing's highest individual honour. Now, I do presume, without even knowing, that we have the Idol awarded per season as opposed to per calendar year.
Yes.
It's per season.
Per season.
So we're getting awfully close. And Zachary has his hand on that magnificent little Idol at the moment, and he leads by 12.
Yeah, but you can pick up 6.
Could you go the early crow?
No, you don't go the early crow, and he'd be very Zach likes to talk things down as well, so
right.
He'd say, "Don't declare me." That's what exactly.
He'd be worried sick about Karis.
Totally,
and he could charge. But at the moment, Zach has his hands very close to the
one hand on
little Idol. One hand's there. Hey, global racing now. Global racing, a wonderful day of racing into the night across a huge 24-hour period for the World Pool. And what was the total? $331 Hong Kong million in the World Pool on all the races at Randwick into South African Derby. Incredible day of trading.
Great day of racing and just so much appeal to have a crack into these markets where you get some nice dividends.
This was some win. It was an incredible win for for Bon Ho, the famous legend colours. And Shane, a wonderful ride from young Tyler Schiller, who has been wasting so hard to ride at 49 kilos, and he was rewarded with a beauty.
Yeah, Tyler's a very patient rider. He never gets them going early. He lets them come into the race at about the 300, and he gets held up a bit in races. Outstanding ride. It was a credit to him. Here's Riff Roth. The second horse should have won easy. All he had to do was stay in. Cost himself 3 or 4 lengths going to the outside. Riff Rock, I don't think, is a true 2,400 metre horse. And with the run he got, he should have run away and won by 3 lengths. But he come to the end of it up here, and it was only because of James's ride that he won the race. You were right with the horse you said, Richo. It was an outstanding run.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to back up as
interesting
well.
From J-Mac post-race, he said, look, he was out on his feet late, but I think his class got him through there. I think when they go to a 4-year-old, though, I think you'll see him better suited to 16 to 2000.
I reckon you're 100% right. He might be more of a Cox Plate horse than anything here. Here's a South African derby, and it was a blanket finish.
Sure was. They get some good finishes there, don't they? And they get these long straight races. But, another great way to cap off just a feast of racing there last weekend.
And the Whirlpool continues at Royal Randwick on Saturday. Every race, which is an absolute beauty. So the 2-year-olds kick us off in the Fernhill, the 3-year-olds in the South Pacific Classic, $1 million up for grabs in the Provincial Midway, with Chris Lees having 6 runners. $1 million up for grabs for the 2-year-old fillies, the Percy Sykes, with the Golden Slipper winner, Lady of Camelot, running in that. The Arrowfield will one day be a Group 1 race. It's it's unbelievable. $2 million up for grabs. And then we get into the Oaks, the Cup, the Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of the Turf, and we finish with a Group 2 Sapphire. That's as good a day of racing as there is.
It's a great carnival, isn't it? And we, around the world, you go a long way to find a better day's racing. So I'm just so happy as well that the conditions are they were good last week. They were okay last week given the circumstances, but I do prefer it when we get into that better range of track, and there's some fantastic horseflesh going around this weekend. And
Circle of Fire is the favourite for the Sydney Cup, and Andrea Atzeni will fly in from Hong Kong to ride the Sydney Cup favourite. He is our Star Power guest next. Our Star Power guest has won Group 1s all around the world, and now he flies into Sydney to try to win the Sydney Cup on the favourite Circle of Fire. Andrea Atzeni joins us as our very special guest. Andrea, welcome to Sydney. Welcome to Australia. You've just arrived, settling in. You must be excited about Cup Day.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I am. I just arrived here this morning from Hong Kong. And looking forward to tomorrow's racing. It's exciting to be here.
How did you go about picking up this ride?
I'm actually not quite sure. Obviously, I've met Kieran quite a few times, and I know Kieran Ma quite well. And obviously with the horse carrying 51.5 kilos, and then obviously there's a lot of horses in that race with lightweight. So I'm sure there's only so many jockeys that can ride at that sort of weight. And he asked me. He rang me a couple of days back and asked me if I could ride a horse, and so obviously I knew the horse before because he's obviously run in England before, and so I knew of the horse, but I hadn't really paid too much attention since the horse has been out here. And but once Kieran asked me, and obviously I had to ask the Hong Kong Jockey Club permission to be able to ride here in Sydney, and once they've approved, it was all good to go.
Andre is a good man to have a little bit of success with, Kieran.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He's obviously leading trainer here in Australia, and it's great to pick up a couple of rides for him tomorrow.
Shane Dye, Andrea, has won the race on a couple of occasions. He's the perfect man to take you through how to win a Sydney Cup. Shane, take over.
Well, mate, you've got about 200 to 300 metres, I would say, to the first bend. No doubt you've seen the track and the layout of it. And then you've got a very long straight. So even if you're caught 3 or 4 wide, you can normally pop in somewhere. It's about 200 metres, I would say, to the first bend. But the major thing, you've ridden these horses, I don't need to tell you, is they've got to be relaxed. You're going 2 miles. It's a long 2 miles. when you hit the straight, there's a little bit of a rise at Randwick from about the 450 to the, I'd say, 350. It's a rise, and you don't want to really go before the rise if you don't have to. I always used to wait. They've taken a little bit of the rise out since I've been gone, but that was always my guide, that rise. But in saying that, it's nothing like in Europe. You know, you boys ride on these tracks in Europe that are like just that, don't you? You know, in Australia we get a little bit of a rise and we go, oh my God, it's a rise. This is him last start. He won well. He kept coming. It was a good win, and of course he drops to the 51.5. So he's got to be a chance, Andrea.
Andrea, what's amazing about it is this finish as well. Is he's got a very good turn of foot. This horse, like I was surprised at his closing sectionals. They're very strong. Yeah, for sure. He's a strong traveller. He looked to be travelling fairly strong the last day. I know maybe the pace didn't look like they were going overly strong. But yeah, he travelled good into it. When the tempo lifted, you know, up the straight, he probably looked like he got left flat-footed for a few strides. But once he got himself organised, he really hit the line quite nicely. And so it looks like, obviously, that stepping up to 2 miles won't be an issue. Hopefully we get bit more of a tempo tomorrow. And yeah, actually I spoke to you about the track yesterday, you Bowman, and he did tell me that obviously the bend does come up quite quickly. We're drawing 15, which is, I'm not sure if it's ideal or not, but it's a horse that needs to relax, and hopefully we can get into a nice rhythm. I actually haven't been to the track yet. I'm just about to go out now and have a walk around and have a look. And at the same time, I have got a ride before, but it's a 1,200-metre race. But at least I'll have an idea of the track. And but yeah, no, I think it's a very good ride to get 51.5. You know, it's especially these tame races, it's a big plus. He's a horse that's very lightly raced, and yeah, no, it'd be nice if we can get the job done tomorrow. Yeah, and he won the Chairman's. That's what we replayed, and he did over race early on. Where everyone was concerned watching that. So Andrea's already assessed that. To get him to settle is going to be the key. And looking at the history, Andrea, so look, the last 30 years of the Sydney Cup, 15 winners have actually run in the Chairman's. Right. 5 have completed the double. So you're in the actual A form race, you plummet down in the weights. Now your key is just to get him to settle and then storm over the top. Yeah. Simple as that. Yeah, it's as easy as it sounds. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think if we can get into a nice spot, hopefully, I think the key is to switch him off. It's you know, 2 miles it's a long way. I've been lucky enough to ride in these other races in Europe many times, and I can tell you 2 miles, obviously, it's a long way. And then I think saving as much as we can is going to be the key. And hopefully we can finish strong. And don't rule out the other ride, sorry, Shane, that you've got in Lively early on in the day that you've just mentioned, the little 1,200-metre race. She's a filly that can run a really good race. Yeah, obviously I think she was 4th the last day in the Group 2, so she's back down to a lesser level. And yeah, it's a nice ride to get. And I was very keen, obviously speaking to Kieran beforehand as well, to trying to get her. It was a very late call, so obviously all the rides were gone. I'm not saying I would have got any more rides on the card, but I was keen to trying to get a ride just before the big race, just to get a bit of a feel of the track. Yeah, I know it's a bit of a difference from a 6 furlong race to a 2 mile race, but at least just to get on the horse as well, and you know, to get to know the track. And like you said, she's got a chance. So it's not just for me to get on a horse to get around the track. She's a filly with a chance, and we'll be giving our best.
Andrea, when you have a look at the track and you walk it, the major thing is at about the 900 metres when it turns, right? So Sha Tin is a complete oval where when you start turning at the half mile, it turns to the straight. At Randwick, it doesn't. So you'll turn sharply there, and then you've got a dummy run. So you can track up and behind. You're not covering ground. And when you walk that, you'll see that. And there used to be a crossing there, and I never used to go before the crossing, but they've taken that crossing out now at about the 750 metres. But have a walk from there and you'll see what I mean. You can track up a little bit without covering ground because it's a dummy straight.
Okay. Cool. No, I appreciate all your help. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, and we're not even going to invoice you for any of this. It's pretty outstanding.
This is all free. That's great.
Well, I've got mates of mine own this horse, so we're all barracking for you. And trust me, they're very interesting people that you're doing a good job by flying out that night because you don't want to hang out with them. You might not get back for about a week. You are flying back straight away for Sha Tin. Let's go through some of your key rides. You've got a terrific book.
Yeah, busy enough on Sunday. I think I've got 8. A couple of nice rides.
One
nice draw.
One horse I wanted to ask you about in particular, Andrea, without you running through them all. Aero Invincible, they put the tongue tie on this start. He won very impressively 2 back. What happened last time? Did he get his tongue over the bit, or was it just not him? I know he's had a trial since.
Yes, so he's a horse I like a lot. He like you said, he won quite nicely on his. He ran a very nice race first start when he was second, then he improved when he went up, the second start winning. And I thought he obviously went up in class 2, class 3, and I thought he would have had a good chance. He just over raced a little bit. He was just a little bit keen. The horse is a nice horse. He's a little bit mature mentally and physically, and so he just over raced a little bit with me early on, and we were very exposed all the way. So tomorrow I've got kind of draw. Sunday, and he has trialled since, and he's trialled very well. If we can get him to switch off on Sunday, and I think was obviously back up to class 3 again, off a lightweight, I think he could be competitive again. I do like him.
Yeah, he looks like a nice horse, that's for sure. And we were speaking, we're going to touch on Lucky Encounter soon enough. Are you giving that horse back in trip a chance?
I think so. I think they had taken the hood off them. And he's a horse that's been consistent. His work has been really good. It's only going to be a matter of time when these horses are going to pop this season. I hope he's going to be on Sunday. Like, we tried him over 1400 with the headgear on. He actually ran well. And then he's dropping back to 12 on Sunday with the headgear off. We've got a kind draw with him as well. It's a small field, but obviously a very competitive race. But like I said, he's a horse that's training very well, and I'm sure he's going to pop fairly soon. I'm hoping, if it's not this Sunday, which I hope it could be, it will be very soon. He's in good form.
Shane, the horse I'm interested in that you're riding, Andrea, is in race 3, a horse called Packing Brilliant. Now, this was trialling well before his first run, and he ran last his first run with you on, but he pulled up with mucus. He then came out and trialled extremely well, and his last run was good when you weren't on him. Now he goes to 1400, which looks like he will be suited. What's your opinion of him?
I like him. Like you said, he was trialling very well before he ever ran. I had a lot to do with his horse. And he ran first start, like you said, on over 1,000 meters. And I was very disappointed the way he ran because, like you said, he was trialing so well. And obviously there's a reason behind it. And then they stepped him up to 1,200. I couldn't ride him that day because I actually rode the winner of that race with Champion Instinct. And Zach rode it. And I thought he ran a really nice race. And he's stepping up to 1,400. I think it's got cheek pieces on, just to keep him. It's not a horse. It travels good. It just, when it comes under pressure, it just needs a little bit of help. He's only a young horse. He's only having his third start. But I do like him. He's got, I think, we're drawing 5, which is not a bad draw. And no, he's definitely a horse with potential.
Andrea, you sit 5th on the premiership at the moment, 34 wins. Do you give yourself a big pass? How do you assess your season?
The season has gone good. I've been very lucky to get a lot of support from, different trainers and different owners. And it's like anything, if you don't get the support, it's difficult to get the winners. But you have to do your job and, trying to do as well as you can. But I can't fault it. 34 winners, it's a good number. I wasn't expecting anything when I first arrived in Hong Kong, and I had a few doubles, a couple of group winners. I was third in the Derby, placed in a couple of Group 1 races. So it's going well, but it's still not over yet. We've still got 3 months left, which it has gone somehow. The season's gone, for me, it's gone very quick. I've been in Hong Kong just over 8 months, and I suppose when things are going well, time seems to go quicker. And but I can't complain. I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying the racing, the lifestyle, and it's looking forward to hopefully renew for another season.
Okay, so when do we find that out? And your family's settled in, everyone's happy, so you would be happy to stay on?
Yeah, obviously, just me and my girlfriend. She's she struggled a little bit at the beginning because she's never really been away from home. The thing is, with me, I've always been away from family and friends since I was 15. So for me, living in England, living in America, living in Australia, living in Hong Kong, I'm always going to be away from home anyway. So it doesn't really make much of a difference. I know it's a little bit further now, but for my girlfriend, she's the first time away from her family, and she struggles sometimes, which you could understand. But it's like anything. things are going well, then it's very rewarding in Hong Kong. And the club has been very, very helpful with us. And so we can't really complain.
Andrea, this time of year, when I was there, I'm always planning the holiday for 6 weeks. Where are you going this year? Have you got your holiday planned?
I have. It's actually my first time in 17 years that I can actually plan a holiday ahead, because, July, August, we're on peak season in England, in Europe anyway, and it's always been very difficult to get away. So I could never afford to take time off unless I was getting suspended, but that's not something you want to be doing. So at least this time I can plan 6 weeks off. I'm already planning to obviously spend a lot of time with my family in Sardinia, and I'm going to spend most of my time in Europe, mainly Italy. So I'm looking forward to it. It's 3 months left of the season, but like I said, the time's going quick, and I'll be looking forward to a break.
Yeah.
There you go.
Avoid England, or someone will give you a saddle, and next thing you know, you'll be riding.
I know. I'll go to England for about 2 or 3 days just to make sure my house is still there, and that's about it.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Good luck tomorrow, mate. I'll be there. I'll look forward to seeing you there, and give him a good ride. I reckon he'll be really hard to beat.
I think so. Thank you very much, guys, for having me.
Andrea Atzeni, our very special star power guest, rides the favourite in the Sydney Cup, which is, of course, covered by the World Pool. Let's push on, have a quick look at the 4 Group 1s. We start with the Australian Oaks, a race that Shane's won on a couple of occasions, Grand Archway and Coco Cabana. Who do you like on top?
Yeah, well, I think the favourite will be hard to beat. I'm not sure that she's a whole heap of value at the moment. But that said, tomorrow in the World Pool, who knows if she'll be what sort of price that she will end up. But I think Zardozi and her, there won't be as much gap as there is in international markets, that's for sure. So Orchestral, she looks the one to beat. I think Zardozi and Autumn Angel, I think those 3 really stand out, and I'm more than happy to be with her. Shaness was a good win. It was a slow tempo, a bit of a sit and sprint, and she really rallied strongly.
Well, she was coming back from 2,400 to 2,000, so that bit of quickness had been taken out of her. It was a strong win, because if you watch here, she's just getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
So the 2,400's perfect. And if you saw her win the New Zealand Derby over 20, she just joined in at the 200 and run away. So you don't have to worry about 2,400. She's travelled. She's been here for a while. She would have acclimatised. I think she'll go better than she did then. She should be winning.
Well, you declared her, Shane, I think 6 weeks ago after the New Zealand Derby. You said, don't worry, she'll come to Australia and she'll bolt in the Oaks, and she's around $1.60 at the moment locally.
I know you like her as well, Richo.
Yeah.
Is there anything, I mean, my exotic plays are sort of Zardozi and Autumn Angel. Is there anything you'd add in, or anything else that you like?
I think the 25-1 available for Basilina, I think, over the odds. I think she could run into a hole and give you a bit of value around trifectas, or maybe even a Quinella, but trifectas and first fours. But
Quintessa doesn't go bad, boys.
No, absolutely.
Form was okay.
No, she's been racing really well.
Group 1 races over there.
And keep in mind that she was narrowly beaten at Moonee Valley by a horse who was runner-up in that New Zealand Derby behind Orchestral. So you can link her in.
Yeah. Whatever happens, I'd be surprised. Orchestral, Zardozi, there you can nearly double banker those in whatever you decide to do, because those 2 are running in the top 3.
You'd think so. We get to the Queen Elizabeth. There's $5 million up for grabs, Australian $1 million, that is. Incredible race. Shane won it on Doremus in 1996. What a star he was. Via Sistina's a beauty.
Yeah, I know the knock is that Via Sistina's coming out of that slow race, but I think it's the perfect platform. Second run here, and there'll be good speed with Pride of Jenny, and I think Pride of Jenny's a good genuine chance with the run over the trip. I think you've got to have Plastic Carousel in the Quinella, because just out sprinted here, but we know there's another galloper that'll really see it out strongly. So I think Yulong have a great chance in this race. But Shane, this was a very impressive win, and when you look at Via Sistina's form in the UK, it's head and shoulders above most of these.
If she repeats that run, she wins. For her not to win, she's got to go backwards, you would think, Clint. She looks a lovely mare. Her European form, as you said, was outstanding. Her first up win was outstanding. You can only have her. You really can. The other horse, I know she ran 2,000 at Flemington, but the 2,000 at Flemington's a little bit easier than at Randwick. It's a harder 2,000 at Randwick.
Well, you've also got a little bit of a theory.
Plus the carousel
during the week, and Richo's always a little concerned second run off the plane. Yeah, he thinks that they can come off a little bit, and there's certainly numerous cases where that has been the fact.
100%. There's no risk about that. Now, the funny thing about this race, if you have a look at Mr. Brightside, he's $10. Pride of Jenny's, $3.50 or something. Last start, they were equal. Mr. Brightside was shorter than her, and he was ridden upside down, I felt, last start. They went out there to put him forward and to do something which he's not accustomed to like that. Ridden a bit quieter, he might go better. Richo, or do you think he's gone?
No, he will be ridden quieter. I still have a query of him over 2,000 metres. I know he came second, beaten a millimetre by Romantic Warrior in a Cox Plate, but Moonee Valley 2,000 metres, totally different.
I'm with you. I love Pride of Jenny. I've been with her all along, really, this preparation, but I think that she'll have a very good one chasing her here. In Via Sistina, and she'll be good over the 2,000. She'll be there for a long way, but I think you'll see the stamina kick in, and I still prefer Brightside and Pride of Jenny over a mile. I think they're both better miles.
Plus the carousel for mine's the great value in the race. The Queen of the Turf, Shane Dye won the race on 3 occasions. Darren Beedman's got the record at 5, so Shane sits second. They include Light Up the World and Arletty. He was a star in this race, and he wants to follow you, I reckon, because I reckon you're right on the money here.
Yeah, I think a tissue. I'm hoping you'll get around about $5 with a tissue on the World Tote tomorrow, and I think that'll be a pretty good each way bet. It's a race where Zugocha's going to have a lot of fans because Zugocha beat a number of rivals, Richo, as we know, and now all of a sudden the weights, the conditions of the race really play up into her strengths.
Yeah, no,
she gets a good run again.
100%. However, I think a tissue's stronger than Zugocha.
Yeah.
James
it's better
McDonald,
form, isn't it?
It is 100% better form, and I think a tissue's a great each way play at $5. I think that the danger might be Hawksy's filly, who's had no luck at all this campaign in Macarena, who was strung up on the inside.
Very unlucky.
Very unlucky. Shane, you would have been able to do the Macarena back in the day.
Yeah,
you might be singing that later on.
I'll tell you this as
I've
well.
I've got no rhythm. I cannot dance.
Now,
we found him one thing he's not good at.
Atisha will be right in the market, as will Zugocha, as we know, but I can say this. I think if you're playing in the Whirlpool into some of the exotics, Eternal Flame is one to potentially throw in. She is flying and improving horse. That's number 7 is definitely one to consider. And Alentia's going to, I think be a great chance for Chris Waller again, who could easily dominate this race. And you said Macarena. So there are some options there if you're playing more in the exotic pools, but I think each way is a pretty safe play with a tissue.
Shane?
Boys, what about Tropical Skirl? That gets a soft lead from gate 3. I haven't done the form in the race, and I don't know if there's much pace, but surely at the weights now, if she's had 2 runs, she's fit. If she got a soft lead, could she lead and kick and win?
I was with her last time, actually, Shane, against Zugocha, and she ran well because she worked early there.
That's right.
It's a good case to be made.
I reckon, Shane, you're 100% out of the money. Out of that Coolmore Classic, she'd be the one that I'd be keener on Tropical Squall than I would be on Zugocha. Yeah. I think she is one of the big dangers to a tissue.
There you go.
Because she could shoot across and be very hard to beat. That's a look
Richo,
at... Yes,
know what they say, don't you?
Oh, gosh, here we go.
Good minds think alike.
I'm taking it from you, the golden
with
boy.
A very cheeky grin as well.
Yes, he's taking the pacifiers off too.
He has.
Absolutely love it. Oh, wasn't Andrea Atzeni fantastic? All right, let's find some winners on a Sunday at Sha Tin. Sunday is racing at Sha Tin, and race number 7 will be where we commence proceedings here. Let's have a look. Who do you like?
Yeah, good little race. Competitive race, I must say that. A horse that ran very well on debut with a pattern of the track a little bit against theirs, Lucky Touch. I've got him in my early rated price, marked around $3.95. Might bring him in a fraction. Super Legends is racing well. I'm willing to forgive that last run. He's formed prior behind Champion Instinct. That form's worked out well. Super Highway hit the line nicely last time out, and Super Charizard, I think, deserves the benefit of coming to Sha Tin and a slightly better run. But lucky touch for Zach Purden. He sticks here. This horse will be a lot fitter for the run, Shane. And I thought there was a fair bit of merit to this performance. Of course, we've seen the horse on the inside come out and bolt up last week.
Yeah, his trials were good before his first run, and he's run well there. He's got gate 8 with Zach on. It's not an overly strong class 4, Clint. I think he wins. I've got him on top. The interesting runner is the horse you mentioned, Super Charizard. Yeah, he's got an awkward gait and gets off the pace a bit, but his 2 runs haven't been as bad as people think. They've been all right. He could improve going to Sha Tin, but he has got an awkward gait. But I've got Lucky Touch on top. He'll be favourite for sure.
Super Charizard, of course, went back behind Sports Legend, who came out and won nicely during the week. So they were conservative. I doubt that they'll press forward from that barrier. So he's going to have to go back. You're going to need a track that suits run-on horses. But his trials have been good leading into his debut. His 2 runs, I think he's had excuses. He was very good on debut. And then that run behind Sports Legend the other day was sound. So I'm hoping he's a backable price. I thought he might be the sort of, not the roughie in the race, but the horse that you get a decent price about.
So Lucky Touch, we're just learning about him in Hong Kong. Let's put the G1 Goldmine lens over him. What do we know?
Yeah, a very good pedigree as well. And we've got a little bit of American influence. And this is, of course, with our great friends at Group 1 Goldmine. And this gives you the impact profile in terms of, you know, the class of the horse. And it looks like, you know, he's a kind of horse, without having a look at his the aptitude of the distance. The impact profile suggests that this is a horse that could easily sort of measure up to class 3, if not better grade, maybe even head up to class 2. So we like to see the gold, but the green's all right.
G1 Goldmine, absolute beauty, and of course in the ownership of Southport Tycoon, running in the All-Age Stakes next week in Sydney, scratch from the Doncaster. So that's our look at race number 7. Race number 8, what do you think?
This is a good race. Really like this. It's very competitive. I'm a big fan of Raging Blizzard, have been through the season. He's improved even again since the pacifiers have gone on. There hasn't been much between him and Gorgeous Win, who meets him better at the weights off the back of a flat run the other day on a wet track. So I'll talk to Shane about that in a moment. I think, of course, Lucky Encounter and Supreme Lucky are considered. But this horse, if you're talking about horses in form, it's this guy. His wins have been at the Valley. We've seen him perform well, Sha Tin, Shane, and he just keeps getting better and better.
Yes, he does. I think he probably should have beat the other horse on one occasion. At Sha Tin, shouldn't he? A glorious win.
Yeah. No, I think he did beat him. He did beat Gorgeous Win there, but the weight swing's not much in it, and it was almost a bob of the head one day.
Yeah, no. So he has 1-2 at Sha Tin, so that's not a worry. I've got him on top, Raising Blizzard. I don't know about Glorious Win, Clint. I just don't know after its last run. Geez, it was disappointing. I know it struck the wet track, as you said, so you're correct. I'm just wondering whether that was it. You've got to give him another chance, because before that he looked sensational. And it wouldn't be a surprise to me if he come out and won, but I need to now see him do it after that last run.
Well, for the short margins at Sha Tin, I think there's like a 9-pound swing. So it is significant. Gorgeous Win will get a good run. I'm with you. He's the key runner, because if you decided that he is sort of had enough this preparation, you've got to push him out a little bit. Maybe Raging Blizzard comes in a little bit in your market, and perhaps a horse, those other 2, Supreme Lucky, and of course back to 1,200, Shane. Lucky Encounter.
Lucky Encounter.
I think the 1,400 just sees him out. You of that opinion as well?
I totally agree. Gate 2. He's going to be third fence. Probably he'll clear Supreme Lucky, who doesn't have a lot of gate speed at present. So he should be able to get right there, tracking them. He's got 119 pounds. He's definitely not the worst. I don't think he's as good as the other 2 at their tops, but if something happened to go wrong, or Gorgeous Win kind of is on the downturn and isn't how he was, he's definitely a chance, Lucky Encounter.
You said that Raging Blizzard had improved a lot since they put the pacifiers on him. I think Shane's improved a lot since we've applied his pacifiers. He's got the new glasses and they are looking absolutely crisp.
I've had them for 2 years. What are you talking
Well, you
about?
always take them off normally and then pop them back on. You wait there. See, now
I reckon
get them back on.
I think
Put the pacifiers back
better.
on.
They gave them better on, Shane.
Go on, Raging Blizzard. Put them back on.
I might have to put mine on as well while we're there.
Please. Wig. Why don't we put you in a wig to see how you look?
Mate, if you don't mind, I'd love to be able to flick my hair.
Yeah, a little Elton John number.
Yeah. Race number 11. Let's finish in style, big boy.
This was a hard race. Race 10 was nearly impossible, but I'm pretty keen on Loyal Bobo, and I'm interested to get Shane thoughts on him over a mile because he's certainly an interesting runner in that respect up in trip. Winning Data, maybe the wet track didn't suit him. I was disappointed. We were with him last start and I thought he had every possible. Flagship Warrior was fantastic in defeat, but gee, he's been costly for followers, but look, he's racing well. I think he's ready to win. Vincent Ho rides Holy Lake, who's been a model of consistency, and I do prefer him over the mile. Okay, now, Frank Tank race holds the key with a lot of rivals, but it is on a wet track. Loyal Bobo, Derek Longback on, up in class, lightweight, goes forward. I think he beats Frank Tank to the lead, Shane, and you were keen on Loyal Bobo this day. Can he go on with it over the mile?
Yeah, definitely. I think a mile will suit him as long as he doesn't get taken on. But there's no reason if he does get taken on why he can't take a sit. The other horse is drawn gate 14, Frank Tack, so he'll come across and just work out how fast they're going. He doesn't go too quick in front. Angus, I think Angus is on him, isn't he?
Yes.
Frank Tack?
He does, Shane. And the other issue with Frank Tank, he's coming off those his two wins recently have both been on wet tracks, and I think it suits him. He runs the same sort of speed on a good track or a soft one, so that's the issue.
But Angus never goes too fast when he goes to the front anyway. He practically pulls up mid-race and rates them pretty slowly. He's pretty good in front, Angus. But I think it's a good race. I've got Loyal Bobo on top, thinking he'll come across and probably lead or be running second and third. But there's lots that could win this. Like, Beato's done nothing wrong. He's a chance. Sunstrider run very well its first run the other day and it goes to 1,600, which should suit it. Winning Data. Oh, the bottom one, Talent's Ambition. Now, there's one that might be around the $14, $15 mark, and it's definitely a chance, that horse.
Yeah, you mentioned
definitely a chance.
You mentioned Sunstrider and Beato. Of course, Zach Purton's been riding Beato. He might have said, I've had enough of Beato. He's been consistent. I think he's got to be in the mix once again, but Sunstrider was ridden by Blake Shin on his second Hong Kong start international day behind Patch of Theta. 7th best 200 of that race. So there's something to work with him for sure, but I think Loyal Bobo's the one we want to go with.
Let's find the best bets. Best bet time. Where do we start? Pens are poised.
Yeah, we're looking to make some money on Sunday at Sha Tin, and I think Lucky Touch's got a great chance for Zach Purton. So pretty keen to have him in a Quinella with Super Legends, of course, and Super Charizard. Let's hope we get that price about Super Charizard, who I'd consider as well on a win play line in that race as well, but at the right price, that has to be, as we well know. Outside of that, I think Raging Blizzard, I'm going to stick with him. There's less unknowns. He's racing well. I think he'll be a reasonable price, and depends really with Gorgeous Win, like I said, in terms of what you could mark Raging Blizzard, but he could easily make it a hat trick.
Ladies and gentlemen, looking for 4 in a row.
4.
Raymond, Shane Dye.
I'll go race 10, number 1, Amazing Victory. Wow. I think this is going to be very hard to beat. Gate, I know he's got 133 pounds. Yui's on him. He's got gate 2. There's actually not too much pace in this, so he might be able to race a bit closer. He's flying, this horse, with no luck. If he gets luckier, he'll be winning.
Gee, Shane, that's good luck there.
Oh, you sound like you're not. You don't.
It's a hard race. It's a hard race. You'll get a good price, Shane.
The one to beat has just been scratched, I see. I'm looking for it and I can't find it.
What's that?
Simba.
Yes.
Right, so horse number 5 for Zach Purton.
Yeah, it would have been a good chance, Simba, but Amazing Victory's in there.
It was the horse to beat. It's scratched.
Okay.
There you go. Did you pivot late in the show and come up with that one?
No, he provides the graphics days ago.
Okay.
Amazing Victory. Yeah, no, I just wait and hear what you tip, and then I just put my hand in the hat and pull something else out today. Amazing Victory.
Very good.
I don't know how.
Oh, that is, mate. Give it strength, mate. That is.
It'll be running well, boys. If it doesn't win, it'll be there. So.
I love the sound of that. And if you love the sound of what we bring to the table each and every week on the Triple Trio, we have an opportunity for you. Sit back and make sure you join us in December. Check this out.
3/4 clear. Now a length. Zafiro can't get him. It's a win for France in the Vase. Victor, the winner, leads. Lucky Sweynesse is wearing him down. He takes over. Lucky with you runs on, but Manfred Mann is back top of the pops. It's golden 60 for Hong Kong. 4 on voyage bubble. That's not a whip. That's a wand. That ride from Vincent is magic. Golden 60. Straight Aaron, leader romantic warrior, he's clinging on. Luxembourg driving romantic warrior, I think.
How good is that? An opportunity for you. Scan that code and come along on the trip of a lifetime. An absolute beauty. So 7 days, 6 nights. We'll go Wednesday night to Happy Valley, and that is fantastic. We've got a special event which will be huge as well on Saturday. Carbine Club on Friday. Events absolutely everywhere. Hutchi will be front and centre. We will, on a couple of occasions, even roll out the great man in the Golden Boy. He will come out. We will make sure that he is ready for you, our friends on the Triple Trio.
Absolutely. So, yeah, get involved. Little trip coming up there. Can't wait. I'm already looking forward to it.
That meeting there was the greatest race meeting I've ever been to.
It was
no
great.
Risk about that. It was amazing, that day's racing. And just imagine at the end of this year, if Golden 60 happens to come back and run that day to retire, and he runs and he wins. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it'll be so good. And you know what? My highlight of that whole trip was spending time with the Golden Boy on the Sunday and watching the reaction as we walked along about the punters going, yes.
He's back in town.
Dicing was front and centre, and you loved it.
I thought your highlight was when I took you for a 3 o'clock snack of lobster and mango and strawberries, and you couldn't believe it. So then I double whammied it with crab. And you went, oh my God, I'm never leaving here.
I'm going to move there, I can assure you of that. Now, that's not part of the tour. Is going for lobster with Raymond Shane.
But there is plenty on the tour, it has to be said.
It's a beauty, mate.
It's from that Tuesday through, the 6 days, or 6 nights, 7 days. So it'll be a fantastic trip, and we're taking a bunch of people up there, and there'll be also a little competition as well.
Oh yeah, wait for that for a little later on. So you saw the code. Make sure you join us. Hey, great show as always, Golden.
Good luck, mate, on the weekend. Hope it all goes well. Another great day's racing.
It should be an absolute beauty. Yep. Good luck,
and good luck up in Sydney. And make sure when you're there, just have a little chat to Andrea.
No, I will, mate. He's under my wing. I can assure you of that. He's an absolute beauty. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next week.